Just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton.
You are listening to
Fire emergency.
Please don't talk, just listen. I'm sorry I killed that girl.
Welcome to the Grimfix Podcast. I am your host, Sir Charles, and I am here with my co-host, JR and the Big D.
the Big D. Straight from Buenos Dias Media Studio in NYC, I am David, here with my co-hosts, JR and Charles. And this is the Grim Fix Podcast. Welcome, everyone. All right.
I feel like I'm Letterman.
Yes. Here we are once again for another episode of the Grim Fix Podcast. Today we have something different here. Charles will be our author today. Well, no, not author, narrator. It'll be our narrator today. Yes, our research team has found this article.
Yeah, 50 of the strangest unsolved mysteries from each state.
Yes. So out of those 50, we have broken it down and we chose 11 because 50 would be too much. This would be a 3-hour episode and no bueno.
People are going to complain.
Yes. Yep. Before we start, I just want to remind you guys, if you are listening to us via podcast, now is a great time to follow the podcast, drop us a review, give us a few stars, share with your friends and family so that they can also enjoy the awesomeness that we bring you guys every week. Yeah. If you are watching us,
I'm like this much to get in a confession. So
there we go. If you are watching us on YouTube, now is a great time to also subscribe to our channel. Also, you can share with your friends. Yes, we are one of the few that give you the full episode on audio as well as on video. So as always, I invite you to subscribe, like the video, share with your friends and family, and feel free to drop us a comment in the comment section. If you find something that we said that maybe you might have more information, drop us a comment. Also, we would like to
I am this close to pull a confession out of a coworker. I'm like, I know you murdered somebody. Come on, like, tell me. What did you use? Yeah. But he doesn't budge, man.
So speaking of confessions, if you have a confession you want to share with us, but if you really have a story, a paranormal story, murder story, any weird story that you think might fit what we share here at the Grim Fix Podcast, we invite you to please share your story at the grimfixpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your story. If you wish to remain anonymous, you can just write it also, and we will do so. And if you want to be maybe you want to tell the story yourself, we invite you to send us an email at the grimfixpodcast@gmail.com and tell us that you want to be a guest on the show and you want to tell us a great story. And if your story, give us a brief summary of your story. And if the story is great and awesome and we can share and dissect it and just talk about it, you will be on our show. So with that said, let's begin our show.
Cue the French fries.
Cue the
French fries. So today we are reading, it's actually from the Reader's Digest. The article is called 50 of the Strangest Unsolved Mysteries from Each State, written by Lauren Kahn, or Can, Cahn. And it was last updated on February 2nd, 2023. So a few weeks ago.
Pretty recent.
And like I said, we are not going to go through all 50, but if you want to read them, the link will be in the show notes and will also be in the YouTube video description where you can go and read and enjoy the entire article. But we will be discussing only 11 of those. So let's start with our number one.
Number one. Mm-hmm. I was watching the titles of the stories,
Mhm.
but this one caught my attention. What was it? The Colorado, the Black Forest Haunting.
The Black Forest Haunting.
The Black Forest Haunting. Within weeks of moving into their home in the Black Forest area of Colorado Springs, quote unquote, all hell broke loose for the Lee family, according to our community now. There were flashing lights, footsteps, orchestra music, strange smells, and even sightings of ghostly faces. The Lee family lives there to this day, still reporting the same phenomena. No one can explain what it is, although a Hopi shaman who was called in to consult claims the house is located on a quote unquote rip in the space time continuum where where spirits can move freely between worlds.
Yo,
Interesting.
that catches me. The Hopi shaman.
The Hopi shaman.
So, so it's according to the Hopi shaman,
Yeah.
the house is located on a rip in the space-time continuum. So that's interesting because I don't get the spirits, because I didn't know spirits can travel through the space-time continuum.
They even have orchestra music.
Well, that's what caught my ear, because so I don't know if you guys have ever read on this. I remember years ago, and me and a friend of mine, we were discussing this, and we were talking about how, and again, it could be bullshit. This was years ago before the internet was a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about how in space, and again, I am not a professional. I know shit about this, but this is what we spoke about. We spoke about that the further you go into space, there's still in the airwaves, you can actually catch music back then from when they used to play on the radio.
Yeah. I've heard
That's
about
why when you
that.
say this, it makes sense. The whole orchestra music, what if, right? So if there's a rip in the space-time continuum, yeah, maybe he's getting that transmission, right, from old-time radio stations or, from stations years ago, things that were played into the airwaves years and years ago. Now,
yeah, but que casualidad, it's orchestra music. It's not like, I don't know, Britney Spears or Michael Jackson.
I mean, but that's why it's probably something
it's gotta be
really, really old. Now, the part that throws me off is the spirits. I mean, again, I know nothing about this, but I'm just thinking about spirits. Isn't there, like, according, right, to people, there's the dimensions between the living and the dead.
Right.
So I wonder, that's interesting though.
And
no one can explain what it is. He just.
So would you stay if you saw that happening in your house? Would you just stay there? Because apparently they still live there.
Imagine that you're sleeping and all of a sudden the Omen music comes in. Dude, man, like, come on.
And the strange smells.
So I think about it like, I mean, I'm trying to make sense of, obviously you can't because it's unsolved.
Mm-hmm.
But I think about like Stranger Things, right? Stranger Things, when they're in the upside down, it's like they're in the same place but in a different dimension.
Parallel universe.
So like you can see the lights. Man, that's very interesting, man. Like I wonder if that's something that's real.
Yeah, but at least it doesn't bother them. They still live there.
Yeah,
I guess it's not
I don't
that
know that
bad.
I could do that though.
It's
well,
not
it doesn't
that
say
bad
that they're
when
being
still
haunted. It doesn't say that they're being disturbed. It's just they hear things and see things.
Flashing lights, footsteps.
They're already used to it.
Smell.
All
you
right,
go nose blind with the smells.
To what is this? The spontaneous combustion of Mary Reeser. That's the one.
Yeah.
All right, let me read this one quickly here. In July 1951, authorities found the body of 67-year-old Mary Reeser in her St. Petersburg apartment. Or more accurately, the pile of mostly ash that once was. I'm so distracted with this camera.
I can't deal with it, yo. I can't. I have to. It's getting worse.
You're walking into the space-time continuum. Yo, I'm like trying to read, and all I see is
Is that I either have to turn off the page, or I don't know because it's gonna keep doing it.
yo, I gotta leave this in. All right, let me start again. The title is Florida, the spontaneous combustion of Mary Reeser. In July 1951, authorities found the body of 67-year-old Mary Reeser in her St. Petersburg apartment. Or more accurately, the pile of mostly ash that once was Mary Reeser's body. Part of her lower leg and some of her spine remained. Apparently, her body had been almost entirely cremated, which is mind-boggling when you consider the cremation requires 3 hours of burning in a 3,000-degree fire. I didn't know that it takes so long.
Yeah. 3 hours.
I really didn't know that. Wow. Okay. Even more bizarre, only Reeser's body had burned. The rest of the apartment was intact. Even a pile of newspapers beside her body. Interesting. See, but there's no. Oh, I hate that they don't put like a theory.
I
give me a
think
theory.
I've seen this in movies or on TV. Like, is it really possible? Because God knows that I've been to the point of combustion at work, so maybe it is possible. But how do you explain something like that, man?
You can't. That's why it's still unsolved.
Yeah. I'm like trying to like work a theory here. I have nothing. Like
because it's just like the movie Queen of the Dam when she walks into the bar and just making everybody just combust. So imagine just that happening to anybody like randomly because to disintegrate everything. Come on.
It says that the only thing left was her lower leg and some of her spine.
Fine.
Right, but that's
and
you put it in the furnace, and it says you have to have it at 3,000 degrees
for 3 hours.
For three and then
hours.
But
obviously, she wasn't in a furnace. It's just I'm trying to like
the apartment was intact.
That's why, like, even a stack of newspapers right next to her, so it's not like there was a fire.
But that's what I'm talking about. You know, not that, and I'm not saying that it was the furnace. I'm saying that to cremate a person, they put them in a furnace. They put them at that 3,000 degrees. And how is that going to happen with just randomly a person just standing there?
I'm trying to think.
It's impossible. Like,
is it electricity? Like something that cooked her from the inside out, right?
Yeah,
but if that was the case, her body would still be there. It wouldn't be ashes. It would be, burned or whatever, but
it'd be charred.
Because whatever explanation you try to give it, it's not something like from inside the body, like a condition or something. It must be something like from the outside that affected her. Like electricity for once, or I don't know.
No, but it's like David said, if it was with the electricity, she could be just charred. That's it, black.
Or the house probably burned down as well.
Exactly.
For you listeners out there, if you have a theory, I would love to read it.
Yes.
Because I'm like dumbfounded. I have nothing.
If there's a scientist that really knows, or at least somebody that's really book smart with this, hey,
just give me a theory. I don't know.
Maybe
the Hat
in the
Man
50s.
came and touched her. I don't know. All right, let's go to Georgia.
Bleeding House.
Georgia.
I love that song.
Yeah.
All right. It says one night in 1987, Minnie Winston saw blood on the floor of her Atlanta house. Terrified, she ran to find her husband. He was fine, but there was more blood everywhere on the walls, oozing from the floor, seeping up from under kitchen appliances. She and her husband called the police, who found no evidence of a break-in. What they were able to surmise was that the blood had come from a living human. No one has ever figured out where or whom the blood came from. You know what that reminds me of? Of that first Halloween Simpsons special where the house starts to bleed, and then Bart, the house is haunted, and then Bart goes like, "Do it again," and the house goes
Yeah.
like, "What?
Yeah, it gets pissed off.
Make
But
the walls bleed."
that's from
No.
Amityville Horror, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amityville Horror.
Hey man, we
Okay.
own you. Let's see some
Back
blood.
then, okay, let's go here for a second. In 1987, did they by any chance have the DNA thing going on, like
So I think
DNA
it was
test?
out
So.
there, not like it is now, though. Yeah, so you
Okay.
see, it says that the DNA profiling first started out in the 1980s, and there has been extremely successful for testing crime scenes, genetic testing, and predisposition to disease. The polymerase chain reaction of, or PCR, was invented by Gary Mullins in the United Kingdom, and in 1986. That's too much to read. Yeah, 19.
Yeah, but then it says that they were able to surmise was that the blood had come from a living human. How did they know it was from a human?
Well, yeah, that's for science. Yes, they're able to detect if it's human blood. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I know that they're able to detect if it's human or animal or whatever species it is. Obviously, the scientists must know that. I mean, there must be things that we have in our blood that other animals don't have, or vice versa. So that I know they can tell. What I don't get is, okay, so you're telling me,
Your house
see, it's
starts to
on the
bleed.
walls oozing from the floor. So on the walls
Get
oozing
a
from the
Band-Aid.
floor, seeping up from under kitchen appliances. Like, how do you go and just check that out and be like, well, we know it's human. That's it. Okay, so I found here in trulyadventure.us, it just says here that this is I also have barely any information, but it says that it was late into a foggy Tuesday night, 1987, when the house of 1114 Fountain Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, began to bleed. One moment, all appeared as expected in the modest, quiet home. Then, crimson fluid oozed down the white walls, seeped through the wooden hallways, splattered across the living room carpet, and found its way into almost every crack and crevice of the 6-room brick residence. Minnie Winston, who was 77, with a thicket of gray speckled hair, was soaking in the bathtub, a place to unwind. See this? I don't need to know this. Shows look frail. Okay, whatever turmoil existed in the outside world was just that now outside.
There was blood
The
in
house
every
was
crack.
locked and the alarm activated for the night. Their sanctum holding only 2 empty nesters. Minnie got out of the tub. Oh, see, this is just giving me stupid details.
That's it. There was blood in every crack. The crack that she had is her period. That's it.
Yeah, this sucks. All right, let's just jump to the next story. All right. Idaho strange mutilations.
Idaho strange mutilations. The towns of Jerome and Bliss have been plagued by bizarre mutilations since the 1970s. Human, cattle, and deer. Genitals removed, the bodies drained entirely of blood, and no discernible footprints or other forensic evidence left at the scene. The official explanation by law enforcement is cult killings, but no arrest has ever been made, and no cult has ever been identified. Wow. That the body's drained entirely of blood, yeah, we can go with, there's an explanation for that. That's the chupacabras.
Yeah, I thought of that when I saw that.
Yeah, human
Well,
Because I
cattle.
remember that's what they would say. What I find weird is the whole genitals removed.
Y que sale when you click on the bizarre mutilations link? Eso
So
te
that's why
lleva
I'm
a
like,
otro lado.
I'm reading here where it says that so it's like a whole article. It's called on steamit.com, and there's like stories about like mutilated whatever, but there's one called Cattle Mutilations of 1989. It says that Don Mason would continue to investigate similar mutilations throughout the state. And an exact number remains unknown. However, Mason does share an interesting story of 2 separately owned cattle mutilated right outside the owner's home in the same region with the same general characteristics of the mutilation 10 years earlier. So in the article we were reading, it says that since the late 70s, right?
Late 70s, right? Since the
Says
70s.
says that the animals, 2 cattle, same night, but each owned by different ranchers, were somehow killed, sexually organs removed, body fluids drained, patches of hide surgically removed. So this just obviously is going to take us straight to the aliens, right?
Mm-hmm.
As of this date, which was February 15, 1989, the final lab reports are not back yet, but already the sheriff's department has labeled it cult killing. So, okay, let me just finish here. There's just 2 more lines here. It says, no tracks, tire, or human around the animals, even though it had just rained. No unusual activity reported by the ranchers that evening, and 1 animal was found next to an occupied house. One of the ranchers admitted that this was the second time he had been, quote unquote, hit by the mysterious mutilators. So, yeah, man.
Man, that's a cocaine bear right there. Wasn't that the cocaine bear?
Oh my God, cocaine bear. That's so horrible.
That was a true story. I mean, it's inspired by a true story.
That's a horrible title.
Cocaine bear.
This just looks like, to me, like typical. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever watch Unsolved Mysteries.
I've seen it.
I've seen it.
So usually Unsolved Mysteries, when you read these stories, you see how terrible the police work most times. And how they're so quick to be like, yeah, no, it reminds, now I'm the one who's gonna say, it reminds me of South Park when the cow goes, let's move it on, nothing to see here. Like,
Okay, people, move along. There's nothing to see here.
That's the type of attitude. That's the type of attitude that most of these cases have. And if you look at this, right, based on that second article we read, it's like it says that in no time, quickly the police were quick to say, "Oh, it was cult, mutilations," and that's it. That was the end of it. Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
And that's it. End of case. Oh, God. All right, let's go to the next one.
Indiana.
Indiana, the mysterious fire poltergeist.
All right, go.
Says in 1941, a farmer in Odin had breakfast with his family and then headed out to his barn to begin his chores. Then he noticed smoke coming out of an upstairs window in his house. He ran back and, with the help of the volunteer fire department, put out the fire in an upstairs bedroom, only to have another fire break out in another room. All day long, as soon as they put out one fire, another would start elsewhere in the house, 28 in all. Wow. Believing his house to be haunted by poltergeists, the farmer tore it down and built a new one. The cause of the fires has never been determined.
Of course, it's not. They're not gonna figure it out because they had volunteers. They didn't have real fire department.
I think I would have done
28 fires. Like, you put one out and then another one in the kitchen, and then one in the bedroom.
Why. They didn't have a real fire department. Only volunteers. That's all I'm seeing right there. Volunteer.
Once I see
fire department.
Off one fire or 2 fires, and it just keep. I'll be like, you know what? Fuck it. I just pour some gas on it.
Yeah, just tore it down.
Get your shit, put some gas, and then you're out.
You know what? Fuck this. All right.
How do you explain something like that?
I have no idea. Somebody must have been smoking in the house.
If you want,
somebody fell asleep with a cigarette.
It's either that or you had like a terrible electrical job in your house.
Terrible, or you had a son or daughter who was a pyromaniac.
Yeah, like if you want to look at it logically, you're like, well, the electrical work and it was terrible, but the fact that once you turn off one fire and then another one starts, 28 in one
28
day,
of them.
I'm telling you, I would have been like, you know what?
Screw this.
Give me the gas, yeah. Throw a match at it. Gosh. All right. Let's go to Iowa.
The boy with no appetite.
The boy with no appetite. All right.
In Cedar Falls, But I mean, it's interesting because it says that there
It's
lives a
funny.
boy. It's funny because there lives a boy who never gets hungry or thirsty. It all started in 2013 when the boy Landon Jones, who'd been completely fine up until then, came down with a bacterial infection in his left lung. Ever since then, he's never felt hunger or thirst. He only eats and drinks because he is reminded to do so. No one knows what caused this affliction.
That's
All
what
right,
you
let's go to the
call
next
Is that
one.
possible?
that. That's what you call a person who's addicted to a game.
Is that possible? Is that like medical possible?
I don't
Hey,
know.
the words
That you don't.
here, we know dick. I think it should be flashing.
Yeah, but it says that he's never felt hunger or thirst. Like,
I've heard
so
something to it's sort
his
of.
his body doesn't let him know that he's hungry or thirsty.
Then it should be something. I'm guessing neurological. Should be
But it
something
says
in
That's what
his
that
I'm
brain.
thinking. That's what I'm
it went.
thinking.
Not an infection in his lung. It should be something neurological. It should be in his
Yeah,
brain.
it all started with the infection.
Yeah, when
And
you get an
I guess
infection and you don't take care of it, like bacteria can go to your brain or whatever, and it can cause
And that's
many
2013. So
things.
we have like the necessary medications and whatnot.
wow. So he eats, excuse me, and drinks because he's reminded to do so. Like
Yeah, somebody tells you, "Oh,
it's
you gotta eat. It's time to eat."
isn't that the same thing when people like they never sleep and you see these articles about people that never sleep? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm looking at here. There's what is this called? DesMoinsRegister.com. So Des Moines is a part in Idaho, just in case.
Yeah,
For those who
I
don't
know.
know. So it says here that the soundtrack of daily life. Or let me quote this just in case I forget to put it in the show notes. But this is written by Kyle Munson, and it was published in October 26, 2014. It says in Cedar Falls, Iowa, the soundtrack of daily life in the Jones household is a persistent mantra that Michael and Debbie intone for their 12-year-old son, Landon. Take a bite, take a bite, take a bite, take a drink, take a drink, take a bite. So they actually have to like consistently remind them. Says that these parents have been forced to jabber away like this is the last year because of their son's mysterious illness. He lacks an impulse to eat or drink, and he might be the only person in the world burdened with this bizarre medical condition. Michael, who is 43, who prods most often, is a desperate father. He's become a verbal robot in a grim campaign to keep his boy fed. Take a bite, take a bite, take a drink. Quote,
crazy.
we feel like we're seeing him deteriorate in front of our eyes, end quote, Michael said. Landon, an avid rock music fan, would rather be listening to Aerosmith or the Cars, but he's sick and needs these constant reminders from Dad. It all began when Landon woke up the morning of October 14, 2013, suddenly having lost all senses of hunger and thirst. He was dizzy nearly to the point of passing out. His chest was clogged with phlegm that he kept coughing up. The previous day seemed normal. Landon had been riding his bicycle and devoured a bowl of ice cream and slices of pizza. Quote, something happened in the middle of the night, Michael said, and he woke up this way and it hasn't stopped. An eventual chest x-ray revealed a bacterial infection in Landon's left lung that soon was eradicated. So, yeah, I mean,
to be the only person in the world with that condition.
see, but this gives you not an explanation, but
more
so
details.
Basically, just got rid of his senses. It's like when you think of COVID, right? Some people that had COVID, like me, I had it and nothing happened to me, thank God. But I know plenty of people that had it and they lost their sense of smell. They lost their sense of taste. You know, so maybe this infection just screwed up his sense of hunger, which is still weird though.
Yeah, his desire to eat or drink something.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I mean,
it must be something in the brain, right?
That's what I
That's
think.
what I'm
I
thinking.
mean, again, I'm not a doctor, but that's what I think. Like an infection like that, yeah, it probably like screwed up something in there.
To be reminded every day, hey, drink, drink, drink,
Yeah,
eat
and as a
something, dude,
parent,
eat.
man, as a parent, you got to be reminding your kid because if not, well, they said that there's like they're watching their son deteriorate before their eyes. Like that's heavy, man. Let's jump to the next one.
Okay, let's travel to Kentucky.
So the meat shower,
The meat shower.
the meat shower.
Sounds
Look at your
sexual, right?
Say what?
Sounds sexual.
the meat
Yeah.
shower.
Well, this first line is a doozy. It says, "Not a meteor shower, a meat shower." One day in 1876, over a farm in Kentucky, the sky rained down chunks of meat of indeterminate origin. Was it bear? Mutton? No one knew. The only explanation anyone has ever been able to offer is that the meat was the prey of vultures who had gorged themselves and then vomited while flying overhead. Well, it's a simple explanation. Could be true.
Chunks of meat.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but they make it sound like it's like a bunch of meat. The way they make it
Yeah, that's
sound.
why you gotta
All right,
define.
it says it
meat
rained
shower.
down. It's rained like
Yeah, well,
it was a lot
not
of meat.
If you see a meteor shower, you see a bunch. But a meat shower, well, you're assuming that you're gonna, see a bunch of meat falling from the sky, not just a chunk or two or whatever it is the amount. Unless you have a bunch of vultures all doing the same thing.
I mean, it was in the 1800s, so a lot of vultures
that's
back
like
then.
the sky is falling. The sky is falling.
A lot of vultures back then.
They found it to be, what is it? Bear meat?
It was.
They didn't know.
It could have been. They asked, was it bear?
Bear mutton.
What is a mutton?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
I
ask.
don't know. I always thought that mutton was isn't mutton like those giant turkey legs? Let me see. When you go to the Renaissance Fair, you guys ever been to a Renaissance Fair?
No.
Oh.
What is it? Hold up.
That's just like saying one of those Brontosaurus burgers from Flintstones.
Not a meat is mutton. Okay, so in short, mutton are sheep that are brought to market when they are 1 year old or older. Before that, they're referred to as lambs.
Oh.
Okay. I always thought I don't know why I always thought mutton was the turkey leg when you so when you go to Renaissance Fair, right? Renaissance Fair, it gives you're walking through the fair, obviously, and it's like in the olden times.
Yeah, they give you that big ass drumstick.
So it's a turkey leg.
Damn, but those turkeys were freaking huge back then.
Yeah.
They be walking in with them
too. With barbecue sauce on the grill. Good shit, man. So this is that at the time of the meat rain, locals were puzzled about what could have caused it. They tried to determine what kind of meat it was with guesses that ranged from mutton to bear meat, and some neighbors were even brave enough to eat it. Quote, some meat falls from the sky, and apparently that was not alarming enough them not to eat it. But even after tasting it, the townspeople of Olympia Springs, where the meat fell, couldn't summarize how it happened.
I mean, the vulture thing, it's possible, right?
Well, that's
a possible explanation.
That's the only one that can make sense, even though, so I'm reading off an article from Vice.com, written by Kaylee Rogers on July 3rd, 2018. This is on Vice.com. And it says that samples like the ones sent to Transylvania University were preserved and sent to scientists around the country. But before they got a chance to present their hypothesis, everyone kind of lost interest. It wasn't until Gold discovered a long overlooked explanation from a scientist in Kentucky that we finally got the answer, that it's vulture vomit.
Some of them
Meat is
ate
heavy.
And
it.
people
That's
ate it.
fucking gross. The fact that people tried that, hell no. So it says, quote, meat is heavy, explained Joe Walton, the vice president for fields programs at the Wildlife Conservation Society. Quote, if you want to take off quickly with a huge amount of weight, the first thing you're going to do is vomit, end quote. So, I mean, that pretty much explains it. Vultures had a feast, which is gross because that means that not only that it's vomit,
it's rotten
vultures,
meat.
Yeah, vultures feed on dead meat. Well, we all do,
Yep.
but like
The
basically
thing is,
rotten meat.
people ate it. They didn't find nothing wrong with it. They freaking ate it.
Hell no. Let me try this that fell from the sky. Yeah, okay.
I'd rather go vegetarian.
It was in the 1800s.
I don't matter.
Yeah.
It's still gross. Vomit is vomit no matter what year, what decade, what century. It's just gross. Rotten meat, it's the same thing anytime, any day.
Yeah, that must have stink. I mean, why would you eat it?
Exactly. And then if it's something coming from the sky, you didn't kill it yourself. God knows where it came from. So you still won't eat it. Not me personally.
No. That's all I gotta say. No.
Hell no.
All right, let's go to our next one. We're going to Montana.
Vortex and House of Mystery. They even have the picture. The picture is crazy. Look at those trees. It says, just 13 miles from Glacier National Park, you can pass through a portal in which the laws of nature are set aside. A gravitational anomaly forces trees to grow sideways and makes people appear as much as 6 inches shorter. A shack in the vortex, called the House of Mystery, is the home to bizarre phenomenon. A marble rolled on an incline will travel upward, and a rope hanging from the ceiling falls in a curve.
What?
And look at the picture.
Yeah. It's
trees.
Like if there was something in sort of like in between.
Yeah, it's
Something
pulling
was
the
pushing
trees. It's pulling the trees into that direction.
Exactly. Weird. But maybe just those trees just grow that way.
I'm more.
And
you know
is
why?
It a scientific? Okay. Is it a scientific fact that it's there? Like, is it like proven
why?
Scientifically? Because it says a gravitational anomaly. Like it's
that's
it's
why
not a mystery. It exists, right? And it says just 13 miles from Glacier National Park.
That's why it has to be scientific explanation to this, which is still weird. But what really got me here is that a marble rolled on an incline, which would be going down, will travel upwards.
That's
and a rope
where
hanging from the ceiling falls in a curve.
In a curve. So yeah, that's where it gets kind of mysterious. But the trees is kind of iffy because over there in Puerto Rico, you know that they have the palm trees that look like an S that they grew that way.
Nah, dude, but that shape is like, and all of them.
True, I'll go with like just the theory of just
but it says it makes people appear as much as 6 inches shorter.
Yeah, but that could be just an illusion, an optical illusion
from the gravitational thing, right?
Apparently, this is a place that you can visit. Because I'm looking at here at the MontanaVortex.com. And so it says, welcome to Montana Vortex and House of Mystery. Start your Glacier Park vacation on the Montana Vortex. The portal is open for the 2020 season. Okay. So the Montana Vortex is a genuine quantum or gravitational anomaly that may redefine the laws of physics and nature. The internationally famous sacred site is located just 13 miles west of Glacier National Park and has been mystifying and exciting visitors for 44 years. The Montana Vortex is by far one of the most paranormal places in the United States. Orbs, UFOs, strange lights, Bigfoot sightings, and vocalizations and many other strange anomalies may occur while you're on the grounds. We offer special paranormal tours. If you have a paranormal group that would like to bring to the vortex, then email us ahead.
But they have like a picture of the vortex or a video or something?
No, they just have like the website is super rinky dinky, like super rinky dink, but so that is the Montana vortex. That's pretty
Montana
interesting
vortex.
though. Okay, so now for our next one, we're going to Ohio, right?
Ohio. Yeah, the Circleville
right.
letters.
Ohio, the Circleville letters. In 1976, residents of Circleville began receiving harassing letters, taunting and threatening them with tidbits about their personal lives. After the murder of one resident and the attempted murder of another, police arrested Paul Freshour, but while he was in prison, the letters continued. 6 months after Freshour was released, television's Unsolved Mystery aired a segment only to receive its own short letter. Quote, "Forget Circleville, Ohio. If you come to Ohio, UL Sickles will pay." The Circleville writer. Identity of the letter writer remains unknown. El Sickos.
I guess he was trying to put that Hispanic thing going in.
I wonder if they were trying to say Yule, right? Like you apostrophe LL. You'll no, but still Yule Sickles. No.
El Sickles.
UL Sickles will pay.
Yeah, like I say, like they're sick, but in plural. It's not. What's the plural of six? Six. What sickles? Hey, I learned. ¿Cómo es? Goose is goose, and shrimp is shrimp.
Yep.
Exactly.
No, goose is geese.
Geese
is moose.
Moose, and shrimp. So yeah, sick in plural is not six.
No,
sickles.
Sickles. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Circleville writer. This reminds me of what is it? The Watcher that they have
on
Netflix?
Yeah.
It is actually a real case, and it hasn't been solved either. Where they would get letters in the mail and everything that here they took it.
Yo, haven't you noticed that Ohio is having a bunch of shit going on?
Yeah, man.
But I guess this was a peeping Tom that was blackmailing people because it says that they were taunting and threatening them with tidbits about their personal lives.
Well, that's how the Watcher used to do
the Watcher.
Yeah, so he just
they were inspired.
So they were spying on people and like blackmailing them. The 70s were crazy.
Scary, though, I'll tell you that.
Yes,
you get a fucking letter like, "Hey, last night you were in your boxers,
in your hot dog boxers.
You were blue and black boxers. You were sitting at the table." Talking into a microphone or some shit like.
Nah, we already know how you dress.
No, I don't have. No, I'm not in boxers just in case. No. But it's like I don't even use boxers anymore. Can't wear that.
What, tidy whities?
Hell no. I haven't worn tidy whities since I was like 5.
Long time ago.
And what it's crazy is like, yeah, they actually wrote to the
Unsolved Mysteries program.
Forget Circleville, Ohio. If you come to Ohio, UL Sickles will pay.
The Circleville writer.
All right, let's go. Where are we going now? We're going to Tennessee. Let's go.
Says the Tennessee, the Craig Miles Mausoleum. In 1871, Nina Craig Miles was killed at the age of 7 when the buggy she was riding in was hit by a train. Her family had a mausoleum built for her and future deceased members of the Craig Miles family of fine white Italian marble. Shortly after Nina was placed there, red streaks and splotches began to appear in the marble. Efforts to clean the marble failed, and each time a family member's body was placed in the mausoleum, more red stains appeared. There is no scientific explanation for the stains. Some believe they are Nina's tears.
Why it had to be her tears?
Oh, but
But
that's hard. That you were hit by a train.
Yeah.
yeah,
By a
very hard,
train, dude.
very hard.
That a train. What is a buggy? Like those old
It's those
carts,
old Volts. Well, the way I'm thinking,
old
uh,
Volkswagens.
yeah, the old Volkswagens. That's what I'm guessing it's a buggy.
Yeah, I'm
I could
assuming
be
these are
wrong.
1870s, right?
1871.
Yeah.
No, but then it's not that.
Why
Sa
not?
It's
inyo na yan, Borky.
1871. It can't be one of those dune buggies.
No, not doom buggies. They weren't on the beach.
I know that, but
Buggies
it's
son lo
those type of
de...
buggies.
No. So son... I think the buggies are, let's see, buggy 1871. I think it's like the old cars, basically. Yeah. So the buggies that were actually drawn by horses. Like
Wagon.
Cajeta.
horse carts.
Wagon.
Yeah, like the horse
Carreta,
carts.
wagon.
Yeah, basically.
And that is
like a
so
carriage
that's so
wagon.
like in the movies or in the cartoons, like
Really cartoony.
I mean, it gets hit by a train. Like what? The horses separaron ahí in the middle of the tracks to eat something, or I don't know. Like
Oh my
And
God.
you see
Dude.
Bugs Bunny in the corner saying, "You imbecile, you
Oh,
maroon."
the thing is, the red streaks and red splotches. How do you explain that?
There's
Some
no
here, I'm
way.
just thinking like no. And then every time they would put somebody else in, more
Red
streaks
stains
and spots
appeared.
would come
What
out,
about
yeah.
okay? Mausoleum is closed up, right?
Yeah.
Let's go
Pretty
with
much.
let's go with this theory. Back in those days, I don't think it was fully like sealed. You know, maybe there was seepage
Seepage from what?
from the top from the roof.
From the other bodies,
No,
they
from the
weren't-
roof.
From the roof.
Like, let's say,
but
okay.
seeping what?
When it rains, water, any type,
Oh, okay. So you mean like
and then it's
water
just probably
stains and stuff.
dirty or whatever, or sometimes there's that red dirt. Like, if there's some places where the dirt is like really orange or shit like that, maybe. I'm just
I
throwing
just feel
a
like
theory out.
based on this information, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like red streaks, okay, but based on what? This could have been just somebody like, hey, and I walked in there and I saw, and all of a sudden, magically, these streaks showed up. Like to
And when
me, this sounds like hearsay.
Did you click on her name? Que sale.
I
sale la
did, but it's
noticia.
like a huge article. Like it's like overwhelming just looking at it.
Okay.
So it's like, I was trying to see if I could see something quick that I can get. Like, okay, the quote unquote haunting appears in the marble of the mausoleum shortly after Nina's body was placed there. Red streaks and splotches began to appear in the stone. Some say that the townspeople tried replacing the stones at first or scrubbed the stains away, only to see them return. Probably the stone then. Probably the
So
stone.
it can't be like, rain or
Well, it could
something
be.
else.
It could be. It's like when you have. I mean, the example. This again. I am not.
No, we have no
scientist
idea what
or
we're talking
anything.
about.
But it's like when you ever had like the mold come out in your bathroom
Yeah.
and you have like those black stains and you clean it up and then it appears again later on.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
what I'm thinking of. Not
Red
necessarily.
mold.
I'm not necessarily saying it is mold, but it
But
could
it's
be
red.
some type of bacteria within the stones because if they thought of replacing it, but they didn't. So they scrubbed it away. Just like mold, you put Clorox on it, you scrub it away, and it looks beautiful. Oh shit, I got rid of it. A couple of weeks later, boom, right back there.
True. Makes sense that the adding more bodies equals more red stains. So
it's probably, listen, it could, again, I know nothing about what I'm talking about, but it could be dead carcasses, right? Dead people.
Yeah, because they didn't
Obviously,
do they
as it putrefies.
Future fries. Oh,
As it putrefies in the mausoleum, because the mausoleum, that means they're not underground. They're in there.
Mhm.
The coffins are in there. There could be some type of bacteria that comes from the bodies that reflects on some type of chemical that the stones have.
True.
And, so every time they put one in, during the process of decomposition, I know I sound smart saying this, but I have no idea what I'm saying. Just
especially with future fries.
It's just an explanation. Like it could be a chemical reaction.
Probably they weren't drained at all. Completo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be so exactly, and this is in the 1870s.
Exactly. Yeah. They didn't have that embalming and shit.
Like, yeah, if they didn't have like the whole embalming process, then that means that these bodies are there. Like,
really, I'm still twitching.
Well, with all the fluids and stuff.
This is so pissing me off, man. This is so pissing me off.
That shit cracks
it's so funny.
Está tirando cambio de luz. So you see the eyes going like this, and he's like,
"Oh, that's the traffic light that this guy was talking about."
Oh my god.
The one that the buggy ran through.
So let's go to the last one. Now we are flying to Washington.
Uh-oh.
All right, Charles, this is you.
Washington. How Jason Paget became a math genius. In 2002, Jason Paget, a furniture salesman, jock, and self-described quote-unquote partier from Tacoma, was savagely attacked by two men outside a bar, leaving him with a severe concussion. When he recovered, he had acquired the ability to visualize complex mathematical objects and physics concepts intuitively, according to Live Science. Paget is now one of the 15 to 25 cases of so-called quote-unquote acquired savant syndrome, people who developed abilities after suffering a head injury.
Wow. That's
so you become genius. You become a genius by a concussion in the head.
Well, that's not the only one I've heard. I've heard this before.
Yeah, there's been a few cases,
and they actually freaking geniuses,
but yeah,
they're freaking
yes, as 15 to 25 cases of that.
Yeah, well, there's been cases of people that they get a concussion, like blind people, and they get a concussion, and all of a sudden they can see.
Yeah, acquired savant syndrome.
Clearly now.
I'm telling you, like the brain is such a
complex.
That's the
meaning of that, acquired savant syndrome.
Complex organ.
I don't know. Let's see. What does
acquired? They say we only use 10% of the brain. So
we don't even use 10%. Most of us.
Huh?
Yep.
Most of us don't even use 10%. Like 10% is actually like a
genius,
smart person, really smart person.
So what would happen if a person can use at least 99%?
Do you think we will have superpowers?
Well,
like I don't know, the X-Men.
Have you seen no, what's the name of that movie?
Please don't say Lucy.
Yeah, Lucy. Lucy, is it?
Is it with Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
like
Lucy.
That gives you an example. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
for movie purposes,
they went too exaggerated.
So what is acquired savant syndrome? Acquired savant syndrome is the presentation of extraordinary scholarly skills that can emerge after a non-disabled individual suffers a traumatic brain injury or illness. So, but even with such newfound skills, TBIs.
Wow.
TBIs are what? Traumatic brain injuries. Duh. Okay. So yeah.
So what if a concussion unlocks 50% of your brain, or your whole brain?
I don't know, man.
That's really interesting, yo.
I believe we will have powers like Charles Xavier. I'm telling you.
I don't know.
There's a reason why we don't use 100% of our brain. There's a reason for that.
Yeah. That's why. I mean, that's why I believe in God, man. Like for real. I believe in God. Like there's so many scientific things that can't be explained yet. And the truth is, like when I hear people tell me about, oh, you know, how can you believe in something that you can't see? I think about all the scientific aspects that we see and all the scientific aspects in life that we believe, but we're not proven yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe. This is me. I believe, obviously, I believe in science also. I'm not going to be one of those that, oh, no.
It's the way they say they go hand in hand.
I believe, yes. I believe science and faith go hand in hand because the truth is, even if you don't believe in a higher power, you still need faith because there are things that haven't been proven. They're just theories.
Yep.
All right. This has been the Grim Fix Podcast. Again, I remind you, if you are listening to us on the podcast platform, on your favorite platform, please make sure to follow. Leave us a review. Leave us a couple of stars. Let us know how great you think we are. Share with your friends and family if you are watching us on YouTube. Also, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment. Drop us a comment about any of the topics that we spoke about today. Share with your friends and family. And if you have something you want to share with us, it could be either you sharing it with us or you sending it to us in an email, and we will read it on the show. You can send it to us at thegrimfixpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as the Grim Fix Podcast. So yeah, till next week, please be safe.
You say, hey, some chicken pita right now.
Chicken pita.
Chicken wings right now.
Ah, yes.
What? Chicken what?
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings.